Hi, I'm Laura Rolfe, host of Powered by Franchising. I am thrilled to welcome Rachel Poulin to the Powered by Franchising podcast today. Rachel is the franchise development manager for the Cleaning Authority and works for Authority Brands. Welcome to the show, Rachel.
Well, thank you for having me, Laura. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it just happens that you were in Scottsdale this week, and so fortunate that you're able to join us in studio.
Yes, love it so far.
So you are no stranger to franchising. You've been in the industry for 20 plus years. How did you first enter and get involved in franchising?
Yeah, so I went to school for English and journalism, but never touched it with a 10-foot pole. It seems the camera added about 20 pounds, and I didn't love the deadline. So I got into business development. My family's very entrepreneurial, so I purchased my first franchise in the early 2000s. And because I'm very passionate about fitness, always have been, it was a NutriSport concept, very similar to a GNC. New emerging concept out of the time, out of the South Pacific, California area. And I thought I'm going to be the first one to bring it to the East Coast, and I did. I had it for several years. Ended up selling it and purchased a Liberty tax service, and polar opposite, I thought we're always going to have to pay taxes, so let me do something a little bit more recession resistant. And I live in Virginia Beach, Virginia, where John Hewitt resides, and he is the granddaddy of taxation. And I would come to his discovery days as a validator and just, talk about my experience with Liberty Tax. And he said, Rachel, you would be great in franchise development. And so I took a step into that for a whole decade. Ended up selling my Liberty Tax and went full time with John Hewitt, just traveling the country, really expanding the brand, getting to know franchise development and all the things that we do. So he's a great mentor for that. That brand was acquired in 2018, Dallas company, and back then, franchise development was not remote. So I ended up stepping into Guidant Financial and learned all we need to know about, SBA loans and the rollover for business startups. And I love numbers, but not as much as franchise development. So Authority Brands recruited me back in the midst of COVID in 2020. And I've been spearheading the Cleaning Authority ever since. So just absolutely passionate about this brand, about my company, and also helping people getting into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you've changed a lot of lives over the years, which is one of the reasons that attracted me to franchise development is the foundation of changing lives through business ownership and franchising. So what a great background and great history, because you can share your experience as a franchisee with candidates. You can talk about all of the funding options, which are vast, and make sure that they're a right fit for the people looking at the Cleaning Authority, and just a smooth transition throughout. So
yeah, and I feel like I gain a lot of trust right out the gates because I've made a lot of mistakes in franchising. I didn't have a great coach, It was just myself, and I was a loss leader. What am I passionate about at the time? But there's certain elements, especially in a business like the Cleaning Authority, that people are very attracted to, and I wish I would have known, rewind 20 years ago, right? So a lot of school of hard knocks that I can pass on to people. So they not only learn about the Cleaning Authority, but franchising in general from me. So it's kind of a double lesson when they work with me.
Well, and the Cleaning Authority has such a great reputation in that industry, founded in 1977. Mm-hmm. What were some of the things that attracted you to become the franchise development manager for the Cleaning Authority?
Yeah, so when I initially interviewed, there was 2 brands they were looking at me for. I spoke to, at the time, the brand president, Leanne Staff, and she is just phenomenal. And she's just highly intelligent, but also knows, this brand like at the back of her hand. And she just really pulled me into the conversation and became kind of why I joined the Cleaning Authority. Mm-hmm. She's now executive vice president of our indoor brands at Authority Brands. So happy to still be a part of her team.
And she owns the Cleaning Authority
she
franchise, doesn't
yes.
she? I've had the opportunity
to meet with her. I believe in Harrisonburg, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
So tell us some of the benefits or some of the advantages of the Cleaning Authority.
Yeah, when you think of, residential cleaning, it's not the sexiest brand out there, but, it checks a lot of boxes for a lot of people in a high quality of life. So it's the Monday through Friday, so if you're transitioning, especially from corporate America, you can be, looking at those hours. So it's a lot of freedom and flexibility of time. Some other advantages are the scalability. So it does start off very owner operator, but it does lead to semi-passivity over time. So a lot of work in the beginning, and if you can really recruit and retain employees, you're going to be able to scale and delegate, certain responsibilities. Also, low entry, cost and high return. So 150 to 200,000 in investment. Our average franchise owner is grossing 1.3 million. Top third is doing 2.4 million. So those are just some of the, ones off the top of my head. I can definitely go in deeper, but I'm sure you have more questions. I can go on and on about this brand. I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah, so great gross earnings potentials. The Cleaning Authority also helps with technology as well as hiring employees. What are some of the things that a new franchisee might expect from the coaching team and the support at Authority Brands?
Yeah, so unlike and very rare to franchising, our coaches are actually franchise owners themselves that have taken the path of, owner-operator to semi-passivity. And now they have time on their hands and they're playing it back for the rest of the system. So all of our coaches are going to have been there, done that. When you join the Cleaning Authority, you have a freshman coach your entire freshman year. Second year, you have a sophomore coach, and then we're going to assign you to a regional coach. But everybody's there at all times. I think that's one of the things that people rave about the most is the support structure compared to other brands in the industry.
Yeah, if I'm investing in a franchise, I would feel so comforted knowing that my business coach has been in my shoes before as a freshman franchisee. They understand the fears that I might have as a new business owner, any stumbling blocks I might face along the way, like hiring employees.
Exactly.
Or how do I recruit and get new clients to clean their homes?
Right. It is very rare that they're actual business owners, because they've been in every aspect of the business. So it's not like hiring somebody off the street in operations, that have been with other companies, which is nothing wrong with that. But, having been there and that experience is really helpful to the new franchise owners.
Well, and the Cleaning Authority also has a national call center to help field those calls and book those cleanings for the franchisees. What are some of the other national support tools for the franchisees to help them in their business?
So we do 100% of the marketing. So it is done at a localized level, but when you don't have to, really dig into that at all, and all the responses are handled then by the call center, it makes it very easy. At a national level, we all operate on one technology system with our proprietary technology. It's called TCAIQ. It is very good in terms of providing credit card processing and payroll processing. But more than that, it's very sophisticated in analytics and data. So I attract a lot of people in banking and finance and technology just based on the sophistication of the data. You're able to see strengths and weaknesses in your franchise and how you're operating, and you can hone in on that one weakness and really change it around and increase your profitability. Who doesn't want to do that?
So what are some of the day-to-day responsibilities of a franchise owner if you're managing the call center and you are helping with the marketing? What does a franchisee do?
So it's going to change over time. At launch, it's going to feel very much like a staffing company because it's a lot of, recruiting, hiring, and training until you can get kind of a core, base of employees that are going to help you grow. But it's mainly on operations. So we take technology and marketing off the plate so they can focus on recruitment of the employees. Our culture has been, since the inception, a very positive culture. So it's about leading with compassion yet accountability and having a leadership quality and a team member mentality that's going to attract these employees. So we take everything off the plate. So they are going to be focused on recruitment. and then also keeping the customer satisfied. And so that's our primary focus. But it is going to change over time. The day-to-day is going to be, recruiting the teams in the morning, making sure they have their job assignments, their supplies, their equipment they need to kind of hit the road and start cleaning. And then we welcome them back in the afternoon. And it's really like, great job, team, and help them set up for the next day. And then as they leave, the franchise owner is going to kick back and settle accounts. So this is a cash business. It's not accounts payable. We don't wait until next month to get paid. It is very same day of the clean. We are obtaining revenue from the customer.
So if the franchise system is averaging 1.3 million on average or 2.4 million on the high end, how many cleans a week is that?
Well, it's going to vary because every market's different in terms of price point. So it is going to be variable. In terms of how many cleans can a team of 2 do, so every team has a minimum of 2 employees, it's between 20 to 40 cleans a week. And 1.3 million at that average, you're going to need 20 to 25, employees, or 10 to 12 teams. So,
how difficult is it to find cleaning teams?
Well, again, you have to be able to recruit people and attract them not only to the business. We pay them very well, but we have this really culture of appreciation. So we lift up our employees. We make sure they're paid well. They have options for tips as well. They're only working in the Monday through Friday, no nights, no weekends. We have a lot of females that have children. They want to be home at night for homework and sports. And certainly have time that way. So we attract them in several ways. But it's the culture. We know that we can pay an employee a lot of money. If they roll out of bed, they don't like where they're working, or they don't like who they're working for, they're still not going to stay. So our culture is very much, attracting. It's like a mutual attraction, right? And a great place to work.
Well, and I love the Monday through Friday to free families up, so the employees are free to go home, spend the evenings doing activities with their kids as well as the weekends. One of the questions I get asked from time to time is, can I do any commercial cleaning, or is it simply residential cleaning?
Our core business is residential, but our franchise owners are welcome to do any kind of cleaning. It just all falls under their cleaning umbrella of the cleaning authority, right? So if they want to do, maybe they have that great residential customer and they've had a relationship with that customer for a couple years and hey, I have a small business down the road, can you help me out? If we have employees that want to get up on a Saturday, want some extra hours, then of course we're going to help out our residential customer in the commercial side, right? So they're able to do any kind of cleaning that they want. They can provide other services, what we call non-core services, taking out the trash, changing the sheets, and then maybe do some commercial. So it's not just residential cleaning.
Well, you have a really high customer retention average as well. How do you maintain 98% customer retention averages across the franchise system?
Yeah, that answer's simple. Great customer service. And there's ways that we differentiate ourselves just in not only the technology. We have one of the only customer portal apps in the entire industry. So it's a free downloadable app. They can download it, put in their customer number. It's going to populate all their information. They can turn on notifications so they'll know when the cleaners are on their way to their house, if they want to leave or do something else. That was really kind of crucial in the midst of COVID as well. It's what kept our business going, is the technology. But it's also the service. We provide the detailed clean rotation system. It's just a different proprietary way that we clean, and our customers absolutely love that. We also have customer inspections. So say there's 20 cleans for a franchise owner that day, we might flag 4 or 5 for inspection to make sure we have a quality job. So that's how we retain customers.
And cleaning is, I think, a need more than a want anymore these days, particularly with 2-parent households. Would you agree? And is that really what you're finding?
Absolutely. When I was younger, if you had a cleaner, you were very rich.
Yes.
And these days it is middle-class America, and it's more of a commodity of time. People are looking for time back on their calendar, especially women. We are going to work. We're also doing homework and sports, and we're grocery shopping, we're cooking, last thing we want to do is now clean on the time off that we have.
Yes.
So it is very affordable these days. People are keeping it on their budget because time is precious. And so it's more of a commodity of time than anything else.
So what would you say is how the cleaning authority is changing lives through business ownership?
Well, it's the opportunity to get in at a low entry, right? And we know 47 years in business, it's recession resistant. We've stood the test of time through recessions and market crashes, right? We know more and more middle class America is, using a service like ours. So when you look at franchising in general, we're changing lives not only through the customer experience, giving them time back on their calendar, but we're also providing entrepreneurship in a very simple model that does not require any specialized license. We know there's a demand for it, and so I would say the reoccurring revenue is also something that is fantastic in our industry that not a lot of people think about. And when I go through kind of the process with my candidates, we talk about reoccurring revenue. So in my experience at Nutrisport, no one had to come in the next week and buy a can of protein. It would last them 30 days, right?
Yes.
And in my tax industry franchise, yes, I had reoccurring revenue. They'd come back every tax year, but I had to wait a whole year. In our model, it's every week or every 2 weeks, on average of 4 to 5 years, our customers stay with us. Some stay with us, 20 plus years, and some stay with us a couple of months. But on average, it's 4 to 5 years. So it's really providing the service, but also giving an opportunity to people that are looking at a highly scalable, stable business in franchising.
Can you talk about the discovery process, how you take a candidate from the initial interest in the cleaning authority to making their decision to franchise?
Yeah, I do have a very step-by-step linear process, and we're like, we soldier through that at their pace, right? So I start with an introductory call, just get to know them, who they are as people, what are their drivers, what are their wants, and that initial call is going to tell me a whole lot about somebody's personality, if they're going to be a good fit for us. And then the second step is educational webinars. So, we talk about marketing, sales, technology. We talk about employees, customers, profitability. The top 3 KPIs in our business, profitability drivers are going to be term rates, close rates, cost of goods. So we go through that. Then we go through the FDD and a territory review. I give them a nice package of demographics. And then they also go through validation. So they start speaking to franchise owners about their experience with the cleaning authority. And then we do a few documents, and then we schedule them for a Meet Your Team Day. And all those are done virtually. And then soon after, within a couple weeks, they're making a decision on the brand. On average, the discovery process is about 30 to 45 days. Some take longer, some are shorter, but
Yes.
on average.
Yes, well, as a franchise consultant, I know some people are eager to get their business started right away, and others are more methodical in their thinking patterns and have a few more questions and maybe need to involve some folks in the team. So are most of your owners, operators, individuals or couples? Talk about your ideal owner and maybe a couple of examples of your successful business operators.
Yeah, so we have sole proprietors, we have partnerships. Mainly it's going to be, the key person is going to be the owner operator, but we can also have somebody else on the agreement. So ideal candidate is really going to be, somebody that is a leader of people. That's number one thing I'm looking for is, can you grow a team of people that are going to do the cleans, right? And if you can't be attractive, that personality type, a leadership type personality, then it's probably not going to be a good fit, right? But when I think about existing franchise owners, they're from every industry. Just recently, I signed somebody that's ex-military, a wife's an accountant. He's going to be the main kind of driver on the business, the operator, and she's going to be doing the books for him, of course, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking of an older franchisee, Chris, and I won't say his last name, but he's out of Wisconsin. And he used to be a high-end shoe salesman, if you can believe that. And he came across the cleaning authority through a business coach, and he would have never thought he would own a cleaning company, and I would say 98% of our franchise owners say the same thing.
Yes.
But when you look at our FDD, when you look at the material, when you look at our system, and 60% of them have their MBA, right? So it's not just this independent cleaning company kind of converting and graduating up to a franchise. It is very much people that are very business oriented, like numbers, so that's our typical franchise owner. I could go on and on. I love our franchisees.
Well, they're the foundation and the character of the cleaning authority.
Right, right.
So the Cleaning Authority was Authority Brand's first brand. They're kind of synonymous with one another. What are some of the advantages of being part of Authority Brands?
Well, right now we have 16 home service brands, and if you look at the most important investment in America, it's the home, right? Providing equity and care to the homeowner, being on call for that homeowner. So when you look at the Cleaning Authority, we're kind of the gateway to the customer. We get to see them more often. Even if they're not home, we're at least giving a service more often. So we establish a relationship sooner and longer. And so once that franchise owner grows, say, the Cleaning Authority to, semi-passivity, they can start looking at other home services that homeowner might want, right? So if we're cleaning the home, we could say, Mr. Smith, I see your pool out backyard. It's looking like it needs a little TLC. We can say, did you also know I own an American swimming pool? And so it's a matter of cross-branding. But, as a whole, we're a number of brands that come together as a big brain and share best practice. And, the system at Authority Brands, we have great leadership, and we're picking the right brands for our family. And so it's going to be kind of the opportunity to stay on one brand, or it's a bigger opportunity to cross-brand. And so along with that, there's so many other benefits, but that's the first one I'm kind of thinking about, because that homeowner is very looking for services for all types of the needs of the home.
Well, and I think that's a great benefit for the franchisee, too, after they build their initial brand, that they can stack other brands that make sense to them, that align with the customer needs. So great for empire builders. I work with a lot of people who've been, they have MBAs. They're very savvy in sales, marketing, people management. So scaling multiple businesses in a certain territory is definitely one way to invest in the generational wealth of a family. And then also expanding territory if territory is available nearby. So you have a Cleaning Authority that you've done a wonderful job in one territory and expanding to a neighboring area is another way to stack.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
What are you most excited about in the future of franchising, Rachel?
Franchising has been so good to me. I'm excited about staying a part of this industry. And, when we get into franchising, we're like chess pieces, right? Yes. So we do development and we do funding and we do consulting. I would say, long term, I'm going to end up as a consultant. My daughter is pursuing Doctor of Physical Therapy right now. And I said, as soon as she gets into her career, I'll either continue to do development or get into the consulting realm. But, I found a love for this industry, and I definitely want to stay not only with the Cleaning Authority and Authority Brands, but, just talking to people and changing their lives. Entrepreneurship is the backbone of the country, and we need entrepreneurs. And that's what I'm most excited about, is to just kind of spread the, education and experience that I've had along the way and be able to pass that on to somebody else and get them into this industry, because it's wonderful.
Yeah, well, and business ownership is a great opportunity for people to take control of their financial future. I know a lot of people look at the stock market, which is very, very passive, but the returns on investing in yourself and your own business and the controllable elements of business ownership, much more impressive and expansive than passive investments. I have a lot of candidates that look at real estate versus business ownership. And again, real estate is very, you can see smaller returns, But when you're putting in the blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak, and rolling up your sleeves in a business like the Cleaning Authority, the sky's the limit.
Exactly, exactly. There's a financial product out there called the Rollover for Business Startup, where they can actually take their 401k and invest it in their own business and see a higher return than out there in the marketplace right now. So whenever I'm helping or coaching somebody around the financial funding side of it, I always have them, if they have the opportunity to look at that product, definitely to do so, because you go into business, it's almost like cash, right?
Yes.
And so there's no loans to pay back and there's no interest on top of it. So it's a great product to get into, and you have the potential of growing wealth inside your own business. It's just a wonderful thing.
Well, that's the other thing I love about you, Rachel, is that you, because of your experience over the last 20 years in franchising, you've done and seen it all, including the funding elements. So you've seen interest rates when they were low with the SBA loans. You understand the cash injection of those rollover for business startups by investing your 401k dollars without IRS tax penalty into your new business. It's an opportunity to set up a 401k for your new business. So you still have a 401k as the business owner, and then as it's a great attractive opportunity for your employees too, who stick around with you for a while, that you can set up that 401k for your employees long term. So all sorts of advantages. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes, yes, yes. So many of our employees don't really look at, salary or 401k or even benefits until they're a manager. Some of our entry-level employees may take that on, but most don't. They just want more in their paycheck, Our employees are very much like the restaurant industry, right? It's can be high turnover, but, again, if we have that attractive family-type atmosphere, they tend to stick around. But there's a lot of benefits, especially when they get to management.
Yes. Are there any key markets that you're targeting for expansion and growth in the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, so we've done very well at the Cleaning Authority, right? We've been in business for 47 years, but we have a lot of development left. I would say the northern parts of Florida, west coast of Florida, in the Gulf. We have pockets of Dallas and Houston, California, since it's very densely populated there. We have a lot of viable territories. And Boston and New Jersey and Pennsylvania, I can go on, but I would say the only places we're really sold out is because we were based in Columbia, Maryland. We don't have a lot of opportunity in Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, DC, but most anywhere I can find a hometown market. But we want to look at the data, demographics, all the distance and everything to make sure that we do have a viable territory. So we're not just drawing a line and calling it a territory. We definitely look at a lot of data before we decide on a territory opportunity.
So bottom line, there's lots of opportunity with the Cleaning Authority, and you're in great hands with Rachel, who has vast experience in franchising, both with the Cleaning Authority and Authority Brands, as well as former franchisee herself and franchise development person. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners today, Rachel?
I would just say it's a great brand. Many people don't think of cleaning as being something that they're super passionate about. But what I've learned over time is, hey, have a high scaling, stable business, and then you can have all those passions on the side. You don't necessarily have to have them as your primary business. So when you think of cleaning, think of recession resistance, scalability, and again, providing opportunity and hobbies and passions on the side. But just call me and we'll work something out, because I definitely will walk them through a great process.
Well, and if you're passionate about profitability, about managing people and those people assets, if you're passionate about business ownership or looking to explore business ownership for the first time, I'm happy to help connect you with Rachel. Talk to you about the Cleaning Authority. You are in excellent hands with Rachel as she takes you through the discovery process. I get in, again, the best part of the franchise evaluation process from my perspective as a franchise consultant is that validation call area where you get to talk to some of those long-standing franchisees with the Cleaning Authority who are very happy with their growth and development with the brand.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's been absolutely delightful having you on the Powered by Franchising podcast today, Rachel. Look forward to presenting additional qualified candidates to the Cleaning Authority and helping our listeners evaluate franchise business ownership.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.